Peace reflection. Welcome to the room. Today I want to talk about fear, because I think that is a word that has been truly taken out of context, and I want to bring a new perspective to the word fear, because usually what people do when you hear the word fear, they look at it as a bad thing, as a negative connotation. And then there's an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. Welcome to the room, everybody. So that concept is what is keeping people from truly living the truth, because we look at fear as this bad thing, this limitation, that's keeping us from becoming our higher selves. But if we truly knew what fear is very healthy. Like, you want to have fear. And the problem in Babylon is what you see people living their lives. They're living their lives fearless because they are not bound to the laws of the universe. They do not fear the word of the Lord. They don't fear that something is going to happen to them based on the actions that they take, because we have bought into this concept: you fearless, you can do whatever you want, you are an unlimited being. But that is a lie. That is not true. Because of this realm of existence that we are in, we have certain laws that we are bound to. And fear is one of those things that is a good thing, because the true definition of fear is to have respect, to have reverence for something. Like, for example, in the Bible, it says you fear the Lord. It does not mean you are afraid of the Lord. It means that you pay high reverence and respect to the Lord because of who the Lord is and what the Lord has done. Okay? And so that is the reason why you have fear. You have fear for anyone, or respect for anyone that is at a higher self. That is someone that can give you knowledge. Someone that can show you another way that's not right. And so that's where you get the respect from. But what Babylon has done, Babylon has reprogrammed us to go against the laws of nature. Okay? Because in Babylon, we are programmed to be afraid of the laws of Babylon. Like, that's why they have speeding tickets. That's why they have stoplights. That's why they make you pay your taxes. And if you don't do these things, you are afraid that you're going to go to jail, or you're going to get arrested, or you have to pay some money. That's where our fear is. But what I found is that people are not afraid of the natural laws. You know what I mean? Because the natural laws, if you eat a certain thing, if you eat certain foods in your body, you will get sick, or it will affect you in some way. But what we found in Babylon is that people are not afraid of the consequences of what will happen when you eat a certain food. You see what I'm saying? Because when you eat certain foods, what happens? You create disease, you create imbalance in your life. And for myself, I have always been afraid of not doing the right thing. And that's what we have to come back to. We have to come back to being afraid of not being on the righteous path. For being afraid by going against the natural law, by going against God, by going against the universe. That's what we need to be afraid of. Not being afraid of what will happen if you break the laws in Babylon. Not being afraid of what other people will think of you because you decide to do the right thing and you don't care if you have to walk by yourself. We need to get away from that fear. And the one thing we should be afraid of driving in a car. Have you ever thought about the mechanics of a car? Have you ever thought about the whole process of driving in a car? You're in this metal, and then you're on this pavement, and then you are in this metal with other people in this metal, and anything can happen. Like, we're not thinking of the things that we do in Babylon because it's become a part of our programming. We think it's natural to drive a car. You know what I'm saying? We think it's natural to eat certain foods. We think it's natural to be in a simulated environment, to be in a box. We think it's natural to wear shoes. We think it's natural to always be wearing clothing. We think those things are okay. But if you knew the truth of things, you would be in fear that everything that you're doing in Babylon There's ants everywhere. I'm sitting on the ground. There's like ants, like these black ants everywhere. Everything you're doing in Babylon, it is destroying you. It is creating imbalance in your life. And we don't realize that because we are so caught up in what we think what fear is. And I promise you, when you go against the laws of nature, there are consequences to that. And that's what we need to become fearful of. We should always want to do the right things. That is the reason why I left Babylon. That is the reason why you see me living in the tropics. That is the reason why you see me sleeping in a tent, because of the knowledge of self, of the love that I have for myself, of the fear of the Lord, of the fear of going against the truth. I decided to do something different. And because I understand the mechanisms of my body, because I know the technologies of my body, because I have come into divine truth of self by the Honorable Master Teacher Nature Boy, that's the reason why I do what I do, because of the fear, because of the respect that I have of going against myself and living backwards. And we know what happens when you live backwards. That is living evil. And there's consequences to that. The reason why I sleep in a tent, because I want to stay grounded. I want to stay connected. You know, I want to get that telluric energy from the earth. And I know what will happen if I go against that. I know if I sleep in a bed. I know if I sleep in a box. I know what it's going to do to my body. I'm afraid of that. But what I'm not afraid of is leaving Babylon. That's what I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of leaving everything that I know. Leaving the attachments in my life. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of starting over, knowing I'm doing the right thing. That's what I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of moving to the tropics. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand what fear is. I understand what the truth is. You know what I mean? And that's why you see people, you know, right now with cancer and all this sickness. It's because you are not afraid of putting that food in your being. You are not afraid of just allowing your electromagnetic spectrum to be around anybody and allow anybody to come into your space, because everything is energy. And whatever you are consuming, you are taking that in and becoming one with. The people that you're around, the environment that you're in, and the food that you're eating, you're becoming one with that. And if you not truly understand what's going on, it will destroy you. If you're not afraid of the people that you're around that's not on your frequency, if you realize what that would do to you, being around people that's not on your frequency, it's going to cause a destructive interference with you. And eventually you're going to become that. And that's why people in Babylon are all doing the same thing. You know, they call it the American dream, but everybody is doing the same thing. And like no one is stopping to ask the right questions. To ask why are we doing this? You know, why do we have shame? You know, with ourselves, with our own bodies. Why is it against the law, or why is it, you know, inappropriate for a woman to not, you know, have her breasts out, have her chakras out like the man, but it's okay for the man to do that? Like, why are we not asking these questions? And the reason why we're not asking these questions, and what will happen when we don't ask these questions, we're only destroying our own selves. That's all that matters. If we continue to let these things happen, if we continue to just not be afraid of doing the right thing, you know, it's going to take over you. And a lot of people will be like, well, you can make a change and you can make a difference, you know, in Babylon. No, you can't. You can't make a difference. The only way you can make a difference is by you being the example and you leaving. And then you showing everybody, okay, this is why I did what I did, and let me show you how it's done. Because sometimes people, they need to see, you know, somebody else doing it for them to believe that it could be done. But you being there and thinking you're going to make a difference, you're sadly mistaken, because it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm more effective here for my Babylon family than I am with them. You know, because if I'm doing the same things that they're doing, you know, if I'm just around and letting it just happen, and if I'm watching it, whatever you see someone say, whatever you hear somebody, whatever they say, and whatever you see somebody do, you're doing it. You know what I mean? And you see, you're just as guilty. You're the catalyst you just sitting back and watching it when you know there's another way. And the first sign of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. Like, that is the first sign of wisdom. You know what I mean? And so you have to break the spell that Babylon has put on you, the programming that Babylon has put on you. You know what I mean? Because you, like, for me, I'm going to tell you about Mama Willow. Like, for me, I've always had respect for the truth. Even if I didn't necessarily fully understand it at the time, I always went out seeking the truth. I always wanted to understand. And this is the first time that I've actually done something about it, where I literally left and I moved. Like, you know, sometimes you might change your diet or you might change your circle of friends, but then eventually you'll go back into the old pattern. Well, this time I said I didn't want to do that. This time I say, bump that. I know this is the time. I know that the sun is putting out its frequency, and it is time for the chosen to do the right thing. You know what I mean? It is time. And because of the fear that I have for the truth, I had to do what I had to do. You know, I didn't care what no one said. I didn't care if anybody called me crazy, because I was like, the fear, the respect that I have for the truth. I will live for the truth. I will do whatever for the truth. And that's what it has to come down to, because if you choose to live a lie, there is consequences. Like, we do not have free will, because whatever you choose to do, you will be a slave to it. Whether you be a slave to your higher self or you're going to be a slave to your lower self. But it's up to you. There's no free will. You cannot do as you will. That's not what this environment is all about. You know what I'm saying? Babylon is a learning ground. It is a learning ground, a testing ground to show you who you really are. That is what Babylon is here. It's not going to be no world peace. You know, Babylon is not going to change. Babylon is going to be who it is. And if you're going to stay in there, then you're just showing yourself, you're just creating your karma that this is who you are. Like, you are Babylon. Because the only way Babylon can exist is if we put energy into it, if we give our attention to it. And that's why you have to leave. That's why you have to do something else. But it starts in your mind, because everything is mentalism. Everything you think, you see, you feel, it starts in your mind. So if you want to get out of Babylon, if you want to do something different, you got to start thinking differently. You got to start seeing things differently. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, you can come here to the tropics, but if you still have that same mindset, if you still don't truly understand what fear is, and having a respect for nature, having a respect for the truth, you will end up vibrating back to Babylon. I've seen it several times. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it several times. But yes, I just wanted to do this download, let you know that fear is healthy. Don't let no one tell you to be fearless. Don't let no one tell you that. Don't let no one tell you like fear is not good. No, you want to fear. You know, you can sit there and eat that piece of chicken if you want to, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and continue to drink that water in Babylon, but eventually it's going to catch up to you, because that water in Babylon ain't even real water. It's chlorine and fluoride. It's chemicals. So you can continue to think that you can be in this environment that is there to destroy you, to diminish you. You can go ahead and be there if you want to, but I'm going to tell you right now, eventually it's going to catch up to you. You know, and this is not to scare you. This is to put knowledge in you. This is to bring awareness to you of what's really going on, and you can decide what you want to do about it, because now you have the knowledge and the understanding to make a decision. Because you don't want to do anything based on being scared. See, being scared and having fear is two different things. Because what fear is, remember what I said, fear is respect. You know what I'm saying? Fear is respect. Being scared, it comes from the lower self. Having fear for the truth and for righteousness, that is from the higher self. It's two different things, so don't let anyone tell you any differently, okay? All right, well, I'm going to get off here. You know, I love myself, and I hope that, you know, this message has opened up something within you, all right? I love myself.